Hey everybody, welcome to a Cricut craft tutorial. Today I'm going to show you guys how to make baby shower invites. These are so cute and so fun. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time. Hit the bell icon because that will alert you to when I post a new video. Before we get started, you'll only need a few things to do these. You'll need a printer, and then you'll just need some cardstock and glue. These are really easy to do. We made a girl version and a little boy version. And we also made a version we can do with the Maker, which we can do on colored paper. And then we made a version that we could do on the Explorer using white paper and then adding a little color behind it. So let's go over to Design Space and get started. Over in Design Space is where you're going to start your project. Now we're going to do two different versions. We're going to do one that can be done with the Maker, and then we'll do one that can be done with the Explorer because the Explorer can't read the cut lines or the registration marks on any colored paper. It has to be a white sheet of paper. So we'll do two different versions just so that you guys can kind of get an idea of some ways that you could do them without having to worry about, oh, I don't have a Maker, so I have to use white paper. One thing we're going to do is we're going to go on to Google and we're just going to search for onesie outline. And I'm just going to go into my images here and find one that's pretty good. I think this one's kind of okay. This one's actually a good shape. I like the shape of this one better than the others because it's a little bit wider. So what we're going to do is save the image as, and we're going to just save it as onesie. You can get rid of this because you don't need to keep Google open. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to upload, which is over here in the lower left. We're going to upload the image and click Browse. You're going to find your image in your folder that you saved it in. I always save all of mine in my Cricut folder. Now the nice thing with the one we picked is we don't really have to do anything to it because the background is already gone. So I'm just going to choose Complex just so that the lines stay clean, no big deal. But you can see there's no background here, so we don't have to do much of anything. And we're going to save it as a print then cut image if you want the black outline. We don't want the black outline. A lot of people have been coming and saying, well, I have a black outline and I don't want it. That's why, because when you go to save this, it's going to print this outline. So if you don't want it to do that, save it as a cut image. And we're going to click Save. And we're just going to go ahead and insert the image into our Design Space. Now I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can see it. And we're going to duplicate it so that we have two of them. I'm going to do one in white and one we'll do in pink. So let's go ahead and just change the color of one to white. And remember, they moved where the color is, so now it's up here towards the top. And we're going to make this one pink. Next thing that we're going to do is just add our text. And we're just going to make them real silly, simple. If you guys need help with the writing stuff, I do have a tutorial. It's for the wedding invites, but you can easily just use the same idea for this. But I just want to make sure you guys see how to do this really quickly. We're not going to go too crazy. So if you go into your fonts, you want to go to your Cricut fonts and filter them to writing fonts if you're going to write this with your Cricut. But we are going to actually print them, so you can use any font that you want. You can choose whatever makes you happy and you like the look of. So I'm just going to do a couple different fonts just for fun. So we'll just do baby shower. We'll do that in Magnolia Sky. We need to reduce the letter spacing. We'll do that up here at the top. And I think the words are kind of far apart, so I'm going to ungroup. And what I'm going to need to do now is select all the words in shower, or all the letters in shower. So you just click on each letter and you just can move it closer to the word baby. And that looks pretty good. And you can always move the onesie out of the way if you just need it to move a little bit so that you can take this and weld it, because you want to make sure that you weld all your cursive. Even though you're printing, it's just good practice. So we're just going to make these both exactly the same. So I'm going to go ahead and just change this over here up at the top. And we're going to change it under fill to print. And we're just going to duplicate it. So, whoops, and we're not going to hit search on the computer because mine likes to do that. And we're just going to go ahead and duplicate because we'll just use the same thing for both. And we'll just do 1, 2, 3, Main Street, anywhere, USA. Now I'm going to change the font just so that we can just kind of show you guys a few options here. We'll just use something kind of plain just so it's easier to read. That looks pretty good. So you want to size it down so that it fits within your onesie. And we're going to, again, change it over here under Fill to Print. And we're going to duplicate again just so that I don't have to type it twice. Oops, and you're not going to grab the onesie. You're going to try to grab the writing. And we're just going to stick that in the onesie. And again, you guys can add any information you want. I'm just showing you these super, super fast. Now, before we flatten and do any of that, for the blue, for the white one, I want to put blue behind it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate my onesie, and I'm going to change the color, and I'm going to make it blue. And I'm going to send it to the back, and I'm just going to move it so that it's a little bit bigger than this onesie. And you can, whoops, try not to move the wrong onesie. You want to make sure you select the correct one, and you want to scoot the correct one around. And this just makes it so that you can see if it's the right size or if you need to make it bigger or smaller. However you want to line it up, it just depends on the way you want to do it. I'm not in too much of a have to be perfect type. So it's fine. So now what you need to do is select the whole entire pink one, click Attach, which is down here at the bottom, and flatten. And then you'll need to do the same thing with your white one. You'll select the whole thing and you'll attach it, and then you'll flatten. And you'll notice over here that the whole thing changes to print, and it'll look like you don't have a white onesie if it's not like on top of something else, but your onesie's still there. You can see it against the blue. So that's what's going to cut out. And this one will do pink, and then this one will do white, and this will do blue. Now let me double check how big they are because they're pretty big. I think that's pretty good. So we'll just leave them that size. I think that'll be fine. I'm using 8.5 by 11 paper, so it should be no big deal. They fit within the parameters of the print then cut options. So we'll click Make It. I'm going to make sure I get my printer turned on. And the other thing I'm going to show you guys, so I did forget to do this, and I think this is great that I kind of forgot to do this, because you actually want to go back and hit cancel on this. This pink one here, we just need to make it back to white because we're actually going to put it on, we're putting it on pink paper, not wanting the onesie to print pink. If you were doing this on white paper, you could print the onesie in pink and then cut it. But this one, we're not going to do that. We're going to do it all on pink paper. So I'm just going to change this onesie back to, if my brain would work, we'd be doing great, back to white. So we just need to detach everything, take this onesie and just change it back to white. And you'll see why we're doing that in a second here. But you want to select everything, attach it, and flatten it again. So now you'll have two white onesies. Well, when we go over to the printer, I'll show you guys that we're going to print one on white paper, one on pink paper, and this we're just going to cut. Again, because the maker can read colored paper, you can do it that way. If you're going to want a just full pink onesie, you're going to need to print all onesie pink if you're using the Explore series. So that's just something you need to keep in mind because that does take a lot of ink. So we'll go over to the printer, but first we'll just show you. Go ahead and click Continue. We're going to send to printer. Maybe. It's been a little bit slow today, so I do apologize. With this one, the bleed does not matter. It's not going to make a difference because there's no color. So I'm going to just leave the bleed off. It doesn't matter. It's fine. Go ahead, click Print, and we're going to send it over to the printer. So we'll get you over there and show you how it's going to print. So again, we're going to start with the pink paper, and we'll just put that in the printer. This is an inkjet printer, and every time I do a print and cut, you guys always ask what kind of printer I have. This is a Canon Pixma MG3022. Yes, I like it. I think it does a nice job. It prints really quickly. It prints very clearly. I am a fan of it. So I highly recommend it. I did get it at Walmart on Black Friday for like $35. Might have even been less. But it does print really quickly, which you'll see. And we'll need to do the second one, and we'll do that one on the white. So we can just print them both at the same time, which is super nice, and it's so much easier to do. So you'll see right here it's coming out, and you can see the registration marks on our pink paper. Again, because I have the Maker, it will read those. If you have the Explorer, please make sure that you do them on white paper. If not, it will not read them. There are a lot of workarounds around it. I'm not a fan of any of them. I think they are kind of a pain. Maybe someday I will have to do a tutorial for you guys so you can see how easy it is, but it can be just kind of a pain, and I just don't like to do it. So I've done it, not the biggest fan. So as you can see, it's about to finish here. We're almost done with, just got to do like the last bit of the registration marks. And it's going to pop that one out. And then let me load the white paper. And we will print one for the white paper. Oops, if we can get, I'll fix that. Hold on one second. Let me get back over to the machine. And we're going to send to printer. And we're just going to tell it to print. And let me fix this guy so he goes nice and neatly in there. Now, I will say that I don't love the registration lines that it has to have because they do tend to use quite a bit of ink. That kind of bothers me, but I mean, it is what it is. So we're going to get this one printed off here in just a second. So I won't make you guys watch this one print, but when we're done printing on the white paper, we'll get over to the machine to cut. We are ready to cut out the pink onesie, so go ahead and load that bad boy. And again, Maker can cut colored paper. I know I keep saying this, but I cannot tell you the amount of times I get these questions. Why isn't my Explorer reading this colored paper? Because you can't print and cut on colored paper. This is one of the advantages to the Maker, is the colored paper printing ability. So we are going to go ahead and let this, it's going to read your registration marks. You'll see that there is a light. I've seen a lot of people, I didn't know there was a light in my machine. That light is when you print and cut. That's why you don't really see it real often, because if you don't do print and cut several times, you really probably don't even notice it. So what that light does is it reads your registration marks. I don't have the extra filming lights on right now because that can tend to mess up your sensors if there's too much light in the room. So I have it set to 60-pound cardstock on my Maker, and this is just the Recollections brand from Michaels. This is super cheap, but it's really easy to use, and it's really nice quality stuff. So you can see that it cut that out pretty darn quick. It's a pretty easy shape, so we're going to go ahead and unload that. And I'll pull this off for you. I do like to save some of my edges to my paper because I'll use them for confetti and things. But you can see, look how cute that is. It's super cute, really easy to do. And you can always do the same thing where if you cut out like a white onesie to put behind it. But these make really, really great, easy, simple to make invitations. I'm going to show you the white one really quick, and that's going to do just the same thing. But again, if you have the Explorer, you can use the white paper, and you can always print your onesie in a color, or I'll show you guys, we're going to cut out the blue onesie here in just a second. And the nice thing with that blue onesie is we can put it behind the white. So it's just going to bring that out, make it a little more boy-oriented if that was something that you're looking for. So again, light turns on, and it's going to read our registration marks. You'll note that it reads the top and the sides in different spots. That's so that it knows where you have your paper lined up. Again, if you are having issues and it's not reading your lines, turn off a lot of lights in your room. If you have the Explorer, you can close the lid. It's a little harder to close the lid on the Maker. I haven't really had any issues with it. But it's usually caused by too much light in the room, or if your paper is glossy sometimes, the light from the sensor can actually reflect back and it makes it hard to read for the Maker or for your Explorer. So let's get this one cut out, and the last thing we'll do is the blue one. And then all you're going to need to do for this is use some Craft Bond glue, and you'll just glue them together. So let's go ahead and unload this one. Now, my cardstock mat, super not sticky. You can see it comes off real easy. So just make sure that if your mat is sticky, that you are peeling away from the cardstock and not away from the mat. I do always recommend that. I'm going to load this blue on here. I know you guys can't see what I'm doing, but I'm literally just loading blue on my mat so that we can watch it cut the blue. And then we can show you all the pieces. This is just a really, honestly, you could knock this out really, really quickly. And the other thing is too, if you have a laser printer, you can actually do cardstock. You just can't do a lot of like the sticker papers and stuff unless you get the specific for laser printer sticker paper. But with this, you can do any kind of printer with cardstock. So if you have a laser printer, don't worry, you can absolutely do these and you'll save a lot of ink because they don't use nearly as much as the inkjet. I got my inkjet because I wanted to do a lot of HTV and things like that. So I found that to be much more my style. So we're gonna get this guy off and we'll get over to the table and I can show you guys how they look all together. Here are our finished onesies. So obviously the pink one, which could totally stand alone, be its own little invite. But if you wanted to add a little color because you have the Explorer, simply just add a little background. Super easy to do, really, really fun. And all you need is just a little bit of this craft glue. And like I said, this is Elmer's Craft Bond. I like it. You don't put a ton on, but it holds really, really well. So all I do is I just draw a bunch of swirlies all along the back and the inside. Always replace your cap. And then all I do is flip it over. I line it up to where I want it to sit. And just press it down. Now, a lot of times I will dry my stuff upside down and I will put something heavy on it, but since we're just going to let this dry and film at the same time, we'll just flip it this way so you guys can see. But there is our finished product. These are so easy to make, really, really cute. They are a wonderful way to personalize your shower, to make everything just a little more special because you can always add little pictures, maybe even a picture of your family. You could do the sonogram on here if you wanted, but there's a ton of different things you can do. This was just a quick, easy way to show you guys how to get started and make baby shower invites. I hope you guys had a wonderful time learning how to make these. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out new videos all the time. Hit the bell icon, that will alert you to when I post a new video. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and happy crafting.